Hey, welcome to my channel. This is Jay Styles. So today we are going to be doing some Nipsey braids on my client, and he came in. He's going on a vacation actually, so he actually wanted a trim. So after we gave him like a quick taper, we just went ahead and trimmed the ends. He just wanted a very light trim, like literally probably did 1/4 of an inch just straight across, and that's just making sure that his hair is not going to be super brittle at the ends. He does take really good care of his hair. But anyway, moving on, we started to part our hair, and so now I'm just going to go ahead and start with the stitch braids. So stitching is basically just taking one little piece and then moving it inside of the braid, and then taking the other side and moving it inside of the braid. So basically you're stitching, it looks like little stitches. So the lines of stitch braids are really important when you want to consider doing them. Also, the molding is very important, so you want to make sure you have a good product. When you're choosing a product to use for these kind of braids, you want to consider the kind of hair you're going to be doing. Majority of the time I'm using the same product on all hair types, and yes, I do work on all hair types, 4C all the way to the straightest hair you can possibly imagine. And I like to use the same product because the product that I use is really good. So I would say try for something less greasy and a little bit thicker, something that's gonna hold the hair when you mold, which is what I'm doing right now, molding his hair so that it stays in the direction that I want it to go. Just makes it way easier to braid. As you can see, his hair is not going anywhere. The ends don't have products, you can see it's kind of moving, but where I'm going to be braiding, I'm going to go ahead and slick each piece down separately, and then I'm going to just mold it in the direction that I want the braid to go and lay. So here we are, we're just molding. So before I actually start that middle braid, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the front and just make sure that everything is nice and crisp. I line it up with the middle of his nose, and I'm using my rat tail comb, and I'm kind of going all the way up to the top of the hairline and making sure that it's right in the center. And then at the bottom of the hairline, I'll go to the middle of the neck, and I will make sure that those lines kind of meet up with each other, if that makes sense. So here we are, we're just going to start braiding once again, and take your time, especially if you want these stitches to look like stitches. With his kind of hair, you definitely want that hair to lay super flat, and you can always kind of clean it up at the end, push the hair in a little bit if you need to, but you really want to take your time because you want to make sure that these are tight, and you want to make sure that you're really getting those stitches in there. So as you could see, my nails are the oval shape, so that does help me shape it a little bit. Some people will use a comb, some people will use these little things you can put on your ring finger, and it kind of like slices the hair as well. Don't get lazy towards the end, because that's when the hair will really start like unraveling and coming up right at that nape. And then just go ahead and continue braiding all the way down. As you can see, I'm just kind of using my comb and just cleaning everything up, making sure everything is nice and tight in the braid so that we don't have any problems when he goes to maintain his own hair at home. So here we are, we went and parted our section and molded the hair in place. So I always start on the outside braid first. I don't know why, I just feel like if I start it at the top, the other one is like gonna be in my way. I don't know, it's weird, but that's how I start, from the outside in. So I like to work from the outside in. So I'm gonna do the top, then I'm gonna do the other side, and then I'm gonna begin to kind of part the hair and then add the product in between the hair. And then lastly, I'm gonna part it through the middle and make sure that I get some good product in there. Now I'm gonna mold it. I'm gonna slick it down so that it stays in place. And so then now all I need to do is part it down the center and then begin my stitch braids once again, making sure that we're taking our time. This is a sped up video, obviously. So these kind of braids do take me about an hour to do them, and I've been doing them for a while now. So I mean, if yours takes longer, that's perfectly fine. Just like I said, take your time, making sure that you're trying to line the stitches up with the other side as best as you possibly can. Sometimes it's difficult to do, especially when you're working on hair like this. I feel like kinkier hair parts better, and you can kind of see those stitches a lot better. I feel as though it's a little more difficult to see the stitches, even though you can see that they're there. Sometimes that hair just kind of slips in between. But like I said, just take your time and don't get lazy when it comes to the nape of the neck. You really want that hair to kind of stick straight to the neck so that it's not coming out later on. Always talk about how to maintain your hair at home. They need a do-rag, they need some mousse, they need to make sure that they have a little bit of pomade, a rat tail comb, and they need to keep their hair covered as much as possible, especially when they're laying down.